I restore old 1930s, 40s, and 50s receivers and transmitters, and these are some of the paper capacitors that are inside of them. They're old and ugly. These are the new ones that I replaced them with, but they don't look too impressive in an old vintage radio. So what I do is I remove the wax from these, remove the capacitor from inside the paper, and restuff them. And I'm going to do that real quick here. Some people have told me that put them in the baking oven and bake them and let the wax melt. But I didn't want to burn the paper, so I just tried this and it seems to be working okay. I got a box so I can melt my wax in. You can see when I heat it up, the wax just runs right off. And I'm going to heat the top of the cap and the bottom of the cap. Top 3 times and the bottom twice I found works really well for these caps. I don't want to heat up the capacitor too much. I just want to heat up the wax on the top and the bottom. And when I start, it'll just blow the wax off the sides, and I'll wipe it off first to get that off easier. And then with a paper towel, and then I'll continue on with the top and the bottom. And see how easy this works. And I've got it on low power on the heat gun. And it just runs right off. The wax just runs right off. And you can see how nice and clean and clear the writing comes up on the capacitor. Paper cover. And this is just low heat. I don't want to heat it up too much. And I'm watching what's underneath I'm heating. So I'm just going to wipe that wax off the outside here while I've got something to hold on to it with here. And I'll clean it up a little more after. So I'm going to heat the top of this just till I see the wax start bubbling all the way. You see this one's turned brown. Some of them don't turn brown, but most of them do. You can see them all nice and bubbling there. As soon as it's all bubbling, the whole top piece, then I'll go to the bottom. And then... And I'm not keeping it too close to the paper. I really don't want to damage the paper, so that's bubbling nice. See the wax dripping out into the box. Some on my bench, but it's easy enough. And nice bubble, and I'll just take my paper towel and I'll just slip that thing off of there. Slip that thing out. Now I've got a. It's not too hot, so just not hot at all actually. Wipe that off. Now I didn't try to clean it perfectly because I don't want to dry it out too much. And keeping the wax inside, keeping some of the wax inside helps keep the new capacitor still. I'm not sure whether, I haven't decided whether or not to wax these or not, because I'd like, if anyone else ever owned the receiver, which someday said he will, I want them to see that it was recapped and they don't go through the trouble of having to do it again. You see that capacitor, the wax is in there, so it holds the capacitor a bit, the new one, so it fits nicely in there. And so what I do now is I just put it along evenly on the sides. I will measure these to find out which one of the outer foil of the capacitor is and put that to negative later. And I just bend one side, slide it in there, and this will help it if I do wax it. It'll re-wax it. It'll help it keep it in the shape. And that's a nice restuffed capacitor. Looks a 0.1 microfarad, 200 volts. I'm going to do this other one here right now just to show you how clean it comes up. And you see how ugly this is. You can barely read the writing on it. And I usually clip the other end of this so it doesn't get caught, of this lead. So it doesn't get caught. So I'll heat this one up real quick and you just watch how nice and clean this comes up. A moment ago you can barely read what was on there. And this is from the 1930s, late, early, late 1930s, all the way through. They were using these, and even into the 40s. But this really is a beautiful little piece of history here, this little paper capacitor cover. So I'm trying to do my best to preserve it as best I can. It's unfortunate I didn't mean to do this earlier while I was doing a lot of the other receivers. And this one here bubbles, it doesn't brown, it just turns white. So you can always go by the color. so the whole thing's bubbling. And so that will just slide right out. You want to make sure you have a box underneath because it's going to get messy. The good thing about this wax is it just flakes right off. It's not like any kind of grease you get on your hands. I'll just take my Kleenex and just slide that right off. Oh, a little bit sticky. Oh, I lost that one, so I'll have to try it from the other end. Good thing there's a little bit of lead left on here. This one I'll probably have to clean out the inside a bit because it didn't come apart. Okay, so let's should have. See it's bubbling over now, so pull that thing out of there. And there's the capacitors out. There's a little crud in there, so I'll just take this tool here and scrape that out if I can. I'll have to heat this up again to clean it up nice, but so you see how easy the first one was. I've noticed that these ones here, they're Mica Mold Corporation. They're a little different wax, so a little more work to do. And I don't use pliers on the paper when I'm heating them up because I don't want to damage them. So use this heated up and I was poking them off with this poker. I was sliding them off with this little tool here, but it was bending the paper a little bit, and I didn't like that, so I just used a big towel, and it seemed to work fine. And this one's a 0.05 microfarad capacitor. So I use a round ones in these instead of the flat ones. And that didn't come off all that well, but see, you can just poke it right off. Scrape it right off. And heat it up to make it smooth again if you want, but just flaky wax. So there. That one there, you see the difference in the color tone, so I will actually heat that one up and blend it a bit. And they don't have to be perfect. It is a vintage radio, so it's not like the people are going to be looking for new looking capacitors. And 0.05 capacitor here. So I'll just take this lead here, measure it up to there, bend it down, like that, and there's a nice restuffed capacitor, and you can read the whole thing. So, there you go.